Okay, let's talk about the Kings. I'm probably not the only one doing a video on this. They just fired Mike Brown. They had a collapse versus the Pistons. They're on a losing streak, and there's a bunch of De'Aaron Fox stuff in the air right now, even if Fox has not actually asked for a trade, but there's something there. They don't have a lot of time left in his contract. Anyway, I feel like a decent amount of the feelings you can have for the Kings this season were kind of summed up in that fourth quarter collapse versus the Pistons, where they're up like 15 with 7 minutes left. They're up 10 with 3 minutes left. They're up 3 with 7 seconds left before the Fox foul, of course. But, I mean, that quarter opens up with Keegan Murray as well as Kevin Huerter both missing pretty open threes, and if that's not symbolism for this season, I don't know what is. Like, Keegan Murray's all-around game has improved season after season, taking on tougher assignments on defense, grabbing more rebounds this season, but his three-pointer is just gone from his rookie season. He's below 30% now. That second-year dip, I just thought it was a weird thing that wasn't going to matter. I think it's now time to be concerned with him. As far as Kevin Huerter, it's been a few years since he was a key member of their first-in-the-league offense. I mean, he's in the low 30s on threes this season. Fox's three-point shooting has dipped from last year. You can just go down their game log. I think they've lost, I want to say 8 or 9 games this year where they shot about 33% or worse from outside. And they've also only had about 5 or 6 games where they really went nuts from three. Point being is the three-point shooting's been a problem. I mean, for the season, they're 24th in three-point percentage, as well as three-point attempts per game. So that's cool. Other things happened in that fourth quarter. You also had Malik Beasley getting free on some off-ball sets where Malik Monk was chasing him around off-ball screens. The lineup that they had out there as they collapsed versus the Pistons was like Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Keegan, and Trey Lyles. Sabonis did not play in this game. As all this is happening, their plus-minus god for the season in Keon Ellis, who Kings fans are yelling at Mike Brown to play more, wasn't on the court at all. He played 14 minutes in that game. He only played 5 in the one prior to that. And I'm not trying to sit here and act like a genius who has all the answers and being like, well, just play Keon Ellis and therefore all the problems are fixed. But also, like, my snap reaction when they made the DeRozan trade was, okay, well, they got Keegan and they got Keon, so they got like good defenders around Fox, DeMar, and Sabonis. And of course, you can put blame on everybody, including those top 3 for some things. Fox, sure, he takes some threes that you don't love, and sometimes he'll have these crazy games. I mean, he had 100 points in like 2 days or whatever, earlier this season. But also, like, no one considers De'Aaron Fox one of the best passers in the league, even though he has the ball so much. Sometimes there's like some body language stuff as well. In the case of DeRozan, I mean, he's just like the 35-year-old version of DeMar DeRozan. There you go. And in the case of Sabonis, I mean, if Sabonis is your starting 5, there's just going to be some challenges you face in building a good defense. Doesn't mean you can't be a good defense. I mean, they're like middle of the pack defensively this year, similar thing as last year. And I think Sabonis plays hard defensively. He plays hard everywhere. And of course, he's really good on offense, one of the best passing bigs we got. And his energy suggests he's a culture setter. I know it's not as big of a thing, but Devin Carter, their first-round pick, getting hurt also was not ideal. And they traded Davion right after drafting him. But yeah, throughout that fourth quarter, you also had K just getting free on tough post-ups on Keegan or pull-up threes where Alex Len's dropping back, or the Pistons got a couple of offensive rebounds with a bunch of Kings in the paint. Duren had some good defensive possessions on DeRozan. There was also a funny Paul Reed 3 in the middle of all this, like, go off, King. I mean, for what it's worth, Fox did make a couple of tough shots or drives before the disaster foul on Jaden Ivey late there. But still, it felt like a team that just didn't have enough either size. Again, Sabonis wasn't playing, so that does feel like that. But even when Sabonis is out there, it still doesn't feel like they have enough size around him sometimes. Not enough physicality, and just kind of relying on the talent to get them through. And in that game, I mean, again, they needed the horrific last 10 seconds, but the talent did not get them through. So, okay, for what it's worth, their net rating suggests that they're a better team than what they are right now. It basically suggests that they're like about a 500 team, but that's certainly better than being, 5 games below 500 now? A lot of that is because they've been in a lot of close games, which you would think, DeRozan, Fox, clutch shot making, we did that whole spiel. Well, it hasn't hit so far like that. I will say, I still think what they need is a player that is very difficult to find, which is like a big forward who can help with like rim protection, rebounding, make threes, and all that. I mean, for what it's worth, the Sabonis-Trey Lyles lineup continues to be good. It was better last year, but that's the closest thing they've got to like big forward who can play next to Sabonis. I do also think they could use just a couple of decent wings off the bench. I mean, Crowder was playing 5 games for them, and since then he's basically not played, and McDermott, one game he plays, next game you don't see him. So anyway, what do the Kings do in the meantime? I think for right now, you just got to ride this thing out. You got a new coach now, Doug Christie, at least for now. Will they look to get somebody else? I don't know. Let's see if you can have a nice couple of weeks. I know the vibes and everything are bad right now, and also, let's be honest, given how it is right now, like, this team's ceiling is the play-in, unless they go on a crazy run here real quick. Given that they were bad for 16 years, like, I think the fans and the front office would take just having a decent team, but we got to see if they can climb back to that. If they can't, then okay, we can start having some very real convos. I mean, again, Fox's deal runs out after next season, and if you Google De'Aaron Fox trade, you'll get something right now. I saw, Tim McMahon, who does have the hookup when it comes to the Texas teams, He pointed out the Spurs as well as the Rockets. He also said the Lakers and the Heat. I don't think either one of those are going to happen. As far as the Rockets or the Spurs, yeah, they both have a bunch of contracts and they both have a bunch of picks. Like if either one of them wanted Fox, they could make a real offer. If tomorrow Shams tweets out De'Aaron Fox wants to get traded, then okay, we start doing, diving into the details and all that stuff. In the meantime, I will just say neither one of those teams needs to be in a rush. I do think at some point both of them will make a big trade. Does that trade need to be De'Aaron Fox, as the Spurs are in Wemby's second season and they're a play-in team and the Rockets are the 2 seed in the West currently? No, but if they want him, they can get him. Now, if Fox does end up getting moved, then sure, I think you can then start thinking about what's the future of DeRozan, Sabonis, all that stuff.